This is what we just did. It's like a quote beginner practice. Anyone can do it off the street with no training. And
Yeah.
yet I find it to be among the most advanced meditation practices I've ever done, because being a human being is hard, and
Yeah.
being in relationship with other human beings is hard. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we're disturbed all the time by what other people are doing. And if we can learn to metabolize that and work with it in the body, it's a game changer.
This exercise we're about to do together is, in my opinion, life-changing. It will fundamentally transform how you interact with painful thoughts and emotions and relationships. You'll practice creating space for them so that you can be less reactive and more intentional in your actions. It's a powerful, transformative exercise. And at the same time, it's not difficult to practice. It's a simple skill, and I've invited mindfulness expert Thomas McConkie to join us to teach it. As this exercise is designed to work with disturbances or uncomfortable emotions, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. But if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, feel free to take a break, do something comforting, and then come back to this exercise when you feel more resourced or safe. We're going to do a little introduction, then we'll do the exercise, which is about 12 minutes, and then I'm going to debrief my experience with Thomas, because each time I do this exercise, something inside of me changes. But the first couple times I did it, it was pretty mind-blowing for me. Okay, so that's what to expect. Without further ado, let's jump in.
So we're about to get into an exercise that is designed to take you into intensity in the body. And of course, that comes with a risk. We all carry, we could say, unprocessed experience in the body. And as we go deeper and deeper into sensation, we might find that we're fine, then all at once we feel flooded, we feel overwhelmed. If anything like that happens along the way, first, congratulate yourself that you tried this and you came into a pocket of intensity that doesn't feel like it's the right time to work with it right now, and let it go. And come back to this exercise anytime you want. It's not a failure to do that. It's a success that you've actually uncovered another layer of resistance and found a new area to explore when the time is right, when you feel grounded and resourced to do it.
One of the things I've noticed is that for a lot of people, they have a hard time feeling their feelings. Like they don't know what it means to feel their feelings, and that could include their emotions. Like they don't quite know what it means to feel what their emotions are saying, but they also don't know how to sit with their body's sensations and what's going on there.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people have a tendency to distract themselves or avoid having these feelings, whether they're emotional or physical, or they maybe suppress them. They try not to feel them. They're maybe afraid of them, or they intellectualize or distract themselves mentally so that they don't have to sit with them. And that's what I'm hoping you can talk with us about today, Thomas.
I'm excited to talk about this today. I'm happy to. I love the introduction. It needs no embellishment, but if I were to add anything, I would just say from a Buddhist perspective that yes, we all do that as human beings. We avoid ourselves. We are in conflict with reality, meaning like what is true right now? What's the truth of our embodied experience? We're often in conflict with that, and that causes profound suffering. So this exercise is in service of everyday suffering for people like me and you, and a way to commit more fully to our embodied experience. So the running and the evasion can all stop right here.
I love that. And a friend introduced me to this exercise. And when I did it, I was reminded that we can talk about feeling our feelings all day, but this exercise, we're actually just doing it. We're just simply practicing it. And I found it really valuable, really helpful for me. So I was so grateful you were willing to share it with my audience.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump right in.
Amazing. I'll ring some bells because they sound beautiful, and it also helps us kind of settle in and really come to presence for this time. And we'll just go, we'll see, 5 or 10 minutes.
Great. Sounds great.
So take these first few moments to settle into a posture that will allow you to be relaxed, comfortable, but also very present and alert. It might feel natural to take a couple of big breaths. I really like to take an audible sigh, an audible out breath to just help me relax and let go. Yeah, whatever works for you. And this is also a really good moment, an important moment to ask yourself if it feels safe to really move deeply into sensation. For many of us, at least some of the time, it's not the best moment to go deep into the body. So we shouldn't assume that an experience like this, a practice like this, is always the right thing to do at any given time. You want to check in with the body and get permission from yourself. Like, yeah, I feel resourced enough, I feel grounded enough to go deep into my embodied experience. And if you do feel resourced, and if you do feel a little bit adventurous, I'll invite you to really just join your awareness right now with physical sensation. Notice what's present. We're working in this exercise with everyday disturbance, hundreds of times a day, maybe thousands of times a day. Things are happening at a pre-conscious and unconscious level where we just feel a little ruffled, a little disturbed, a little stirred up. And those moments go undetected, and we don't realize that we choreograph our lives around avoiding our embodied experience. So when you come into the body right now, oh happy day, you might notice that there's already disturbance there, in which case you don't need to go looking for it, you don't need to produce it. But if you're feeling like quite tranquil and calm, I'm going to ask you to stir that up a little bit just for the purposes of this exercise, to call to your attention a moment today or a moment this week where you had a kind of troubling encounter. Could be with life itself, could just be inclement weather. But the deepest disturbance are often related to other human beings, relationship. So the basic possibilities is when you bring your attention to the body, you already feel disturbance here. But if you don't feel any disturbance, you can actually use this exercise to call up some disturbance. Maybe the image of a person that you're struggling with in relationship right now. Maybe an interaction that didn't go very well and it's kind of stuck in your system. It just doesn't feel very good. And this is normally the exact kind of experience, sensation that we avoid. We try to shove it down, we repress it, we distract ourselves. And we're doing something counterinstinctual here by like going right into it, going right into the heart of the sensation. So you call up a disturbing encounter, something someone said to you, something they did, something that happened in life that left you feeling unsteady, unmoored, anxious, disturbed. And as you continue to breathe, you can notice where this shows up in the body. Where's the disturbance? Where's the intense sensation that you would prefer not to be feeling, but nevertheless it's present in your system? And rather than running, evading, distracting, repressing, can you just relax into it? Letting awareness soak into the sensation like water soaking through a sponge. And really feeling what's here to be felt. A key to doing this is to let go of any interpretations, because oftentimes with disturbance we get a story going. How dare that person? That should have never happened. Had that person been doing what they were supposed to be doing, I wouldn't be feeling like this. But in fact, we are feeling like this right now. So it's an opportunity to actually really commit to our embodied experience. Letting go of the story, even something as simple as an emotional interpretation. Letting go of even emotion and going right to the raw sensation. And if it helps, you can use a word or two to describe whatever physical sensation you're aware of in the body. For me, with my disturbance in this moment, I'm aware of a clenching, a contraction in the throat, a pressure. I feel some ache in my heart. So see if you can do that, just physical sensation, no emotion, no story. And it's important when we do this exercise to ask ourselves, is the signal I'm getting from my body indicating real danger? In this moment, there might actually be something unsafe. And you want to ask yourself that, is this signal from the body, this intensity, this disturbance, is it signaling that something about the environment is unsafe? And if it is, we want to take care of ourselves and change our circumstances as best we can. But if it's a disturbance that's not indicative of any immediate danger, if we actually feel safe, that is, on an objective level, we can use this opportunity to go even deeper. Really finding our awareness on the inside of this intense sensation, not trying to understand it, not trying to heal it, not trying to liberate it. We're not performing any operation on it at all. We're just training ourselves to stay embodied, to commit to the truth of our embodied experience right now. Stay with it. And when you feel like you're really resting in this disturbance in a way that we do not normally do day to day unless we bring some intention to a practice like this, you have the option of saying to yourself, saying out loud, I commit to feeling this way on and off for the rest of my life. I commit to feeling this way on and off for the rest of my life. Sometimes when we make this declaration, we feel despair, like, oh no, I thought one day I would finally be free of sensations like this. I would finally be delivered from the suffering of my life. And if you feel despair, let that be a signal that you can let go of any fantasy that one day as a feeling human being you'll stop feeling and accept this embodied reality that sometimes life hurts, sometimes it brings us joy, and that these are passing ephemeral energies. On the other hand, sometimes we make this declaration that I commit to feeling this way on and off the rest of our lives, and a light bulb goes on. We realize that a deeper part of us is completely resourced to feel these sensations, all sensations as they come and go, no matter what. We get an insight into the part of our identity that is bigger than all experience, all feelings. And we realize that no matter what life throws at us, we can remain radically embodied, committed to the truth of this experience. And so if that's your response to this practice, just notice that, the freedom that comes with committing to this experience. Either way, it's good. The despair is good. The freedom is good. Whatever we feel, it's information for us. Let this sensation run its course, however long it takes. And at some point, as all sensations ebb and flow, you'll find yourself on the other side of intensity. And you'll realize that you didn't abandon yourself. You committed to staying embodied. And now you're free to act from a place where you're not avoiding yourself, not avoiding your embodied experience. You can be choiceful. You have agency to decide, do I do something? Do I do nothing? What's the next thing I can do? The most wise, compassionate, and skillful thing I can do in response to life. Okay.
Thank you. Such an interesting experience every time I do it. It's an
It's
interesting
different.
experience.
It's so different every time. But I tried to get kind of the basics of what goes into that practice. And as people get more familiar with it, they can adapt it and do it on their own, do it on the fly. I do this exercise in my own way, maybe dozens of times a day.
Interesting. Do you debrief, when you do group meditations, do you debrief people's experiences?
Fully, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a really important part of the learning, to just see how different people's experiences are, but how similar they are in fundamental ways. So that's a really rich part of the experience.
Okay, so I'd like to bring up some things that came up for me, and then perhaps you could express some things that you commonly see come up for other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So initially for me, well, first, it was hard for me to calm down a little bit because I am recording an interview. So I had to check
Yeah.
the mic got funny for a second. And I was,
Yeah.
my flighty mind was constantly like, well, let's think about and plan and do all these things instead of sitting with my sensations. But then after a moment, I was able to like turn my attention inside and go there. And one of my first things is I was surprised that I did have this sharp, jaggedy sensation about when you mentioned a specific person. I hadn't thought today, oh, I have any problems with anyone. And then I sat and I realized, oh, there's perhaps a political figure who's inciting some intense feelings.
Yeah.
And then as I explored those feelings and observed them, I felt very much from about here to here is where I felt these sensations in my throat,
Yeah.
in my shoulders.
Yep.
It felt sharp.
Yep.
This is how I describe as my process going through this. It felt sharp.
Yeah.
My arms felt like I almost wanted to like flap and wave, like just like I wanted to be like jerking about almost. This is my embodied experience of this.
Yeah. Which, let me add really, really quickly, when you get that sensation like something wants to move, that's a whole other protocol where it can be really helpful to let that energy move. Absolutely.
Like, would you at some times be like, let's go, like just flap for a minute?
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like if there's pent up energy in the body, to let that energy move and complete can be a really important part of this process.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that sometime. I don't know if we have time to go there, but I know in trauma work sometimes we do that too. Like, oh, you wish you could have pushed away. And so now
Right.
you feel that in your body. Let's push away. Like, let's
Right.
push. Let's let your arms
Right.
do what they wanted to do.
That's a really important skill set to develop, I believe. This particular exercise we just did focuses on a different skill, which is to, how would I say it? It is to build strength in the nervous system. It's to train ourselves to stay consciously present to more and more intensity in the nervous system. So whether we need to move energy after or act that out, that's an important question, but it's another question. Right now, the same way we would like train at the gym and lift weights, by calling up intensity in the body and training ourselves to remain present, we're strengthening the nervous system.
Oh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so then as I moved through the exercise, then I felt like as my attention soaked into it, I almost felt like it was dripping down into it,
Yeah.
and it very quickly softened for me.
Yes. That's a really important moment to notice. When we bring conscious intention to the disturbance, we don't always find, but we sometimes, maybe even often find that extra degree of presence starts to metabolize the intensity. It starts to like thaw it, melt
Yeah.
it, and get it moving so that we complete it more quickly, so it can pass through us.
Yeah, I
That's
rolled.
right.
Yeah, it did. So I started out being completely unaware that I was feeling like jittery. And then I brought awareness to it and I was like, oh, whew,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then it melted quite quickly. Like initially, like it was just like, oh, as I brought more awareness to it, it was like, oh, I've checked in, I've acknowledged, I've noticed, I've sat with, I've explored, and it just melted. I didn't do anything
Yes.
to it. It just
Yes.
melted.
Wonderful. And when you have an experience like that, you start to develop a confidence that even when life is very disturbing in a moment where we would usually kind of freak out and numb ourselves and distract ourselves, and then a week later say, man, I'm having such an awful week. We learn to catch it like right at the head as it's coming up. And instead of like a whole week of suffering and
Carrying it
engaging
around.
yeah, 5 seconds later, 7 minutes later, we feel like, oh, wow, I feel so much peace and openness and freedom in the body that I didn't feel before. So we start to learn in that way and realize like, wow, I can stay present to life experiences that I thought were impossible to like really encounter with an open heart, you know?
Yeah. And that's I do believe in that. Like I've experienced that personally, even though I'm very much a beginner meditator, that as I've developed more willingness to feel my feelings through other practices, that
Yeah.
I feel very confident that I can have a lot of emotions and be okay.
And that's absolutely where I want to see people get who I get to teach. Just that to tap into what you just shared so beautifully. It's this capacity we have as human beings, and a little bit of intention, a little bit of sincere intention goes such a long way. This is what we just did. It's like a quote beginner practice. Anyone can do it off the street with no training, and yet
Yeah.
I find it to be among the most advanced meditation practices I've ever done, because being a human being is hard. And
Yeah.
being in relationship with other human beings is hard. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, we're disturbed all the time by what other people are doing. And if we can learn to metabolize that and work with it in the body, it's a game changer.
So then I want to bring up something that came up for me as we continued. So like my attention left and came back and did its thing. I kept paying attention through the exercise, but then as you talked about this idea of like you have to accept, or you don't have to, you choose to accept that you might feel this way off and on throughout your whole life. I felt
Yes.
an initial like surge of like, no, I don't want
Yes.
to. No,
Yes. Yeah.
can't I just wait till this certain politician goes away and then I won't feel this anymore? Like, can't I just like, can't something happen? Can't I fix it? Can't I like learn some skill so I'm never bothered again? Like, I felt resistance
Right.
when you brought that up. And I felt a little bit like,
Yes.
I don't like this. What if my audience turns off this video now? Because they're resisting this, you know?
In my experience, that is the most common experience to this practice. Everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And that whatever politician you're speaking of, one day they will step down and
Yeah.
a new politician will take their place. And there will be a new person who disturbs you and hits you right in your own vulnerability. And a new, different person, different
Mm-hmm.
everything, same Emma, same
That's right.
vulnerability, same disturbance. So
Mm-hmm.
that declaration, I commit to feeling this way on and off. It it is a glorious, glorious mantra. I love this more than just about any practice because it totally cuts through our fantasy that
Mm-hmm.
one day I don't have to be disturbed anymore as a human being,
That's what I
right?
realized as I sat with it. I thought, I have a fantasy that if so and so went away,
That's
I
right.
wouldn't have feelings.
That's right.
That
But
if I,
we
Mhm.
know there will always be the next person who disturbs us. It's a different cue to the same trigger we have, right? So this is
Yeah.
a way of taking our freedom back and saying, like, I'm not trying to control the world. I'm not trying to control other people. I'm taking responsible for my embodied experience, and I'm going to act from a place of greater and greater freedom.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one. Like I make no bones about that. When we
Sure.
workshop this live in a room full of
Mhm.
100 people, there's always a bunch of voices who freak out about this,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
And you're already, I see you're on the other side of the insight. You're where I want
Well,
people to get to, which is
mhm.
realizing like, oh, I think, no, there's always going to be something that disturbs me next.
But okay, so let me play contrarian. Like
Please.
CBT would be like, well, if you just change how you think about it, you won't have feelings about it anymore. Like if
Right.
you think more rationally, if you think more logically, if you don't catastrophize,
Yeah.
then you won't be so panicked about whatever, XYZ.
CBT is a vital skill set. Your
Mm-hmm.
listeners probably know cognitive behavioral therapy, working primarily with a skillfulness of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Are our thoughts reflective of reality? Are they generative? Are they supportive for us to be the kind of people we want to be in the world? The limitation, as I see it with CBT, is that if we talk about this practice we're doing in terms of depth,
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, by the time we're having a thought, we've already had so much elaboration at the level of emotions.
Yeah.
And at the even deeper level of the body, we've had so much sensation going on that we have actually not all that much leverage over our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
We want to develop skill at working with our thoughts for sure, and CBT is amazing at that.
Yeah.
But I find if we want maximum leverage over what kinds of thoughts actually take shape in our consciousness,
Yeah.
our best bet is to really learn how to commit to the intensity of our embodied experience. And that actually changes the way we think 5 layers down, way before we even have a conscious thought.
Yeah.
Because often our conscious thought is like, this shouldn't be happening. I hate that person. They're completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I would scream in their face if I saw them right now.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get closer to the body, we realize actually, I just feel intensity in the body. I feel disturbed, and there's some part of me that's not willing to feel that.
I
And
want it to
once
go
I'm
away.
fully willing to feel that,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, like the thoughts that come up are like, okay, now that I'm willing to feel this way on and off the rest of my life, is there something skillful I could say to this person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So,
that's where like toward the end of the exercise, I was like, oh, well, now that I feel a little bit more centered or more
yeah.
like allowing, making space for that,
Yes.
then I actually feel like I'm not just going to sit here and meditate about a certain politician. I'm going to be like, oh, the next time I go to say something or I want to speak up, I'm
Yes.
going to do it from a more reasonable place, like
Yes.
a more like less reactive, less emotionally reactive place. And that'd be more
Exactly.
helpful, a more helpful place.
Exactly. And we've all had that experience when we're in the room with a bunch of other people and someone's speaking from a place of a lot of reactivity
Hmm.
and they're trying to whip us up into that same frenzy and saying, like, aren't you outraged like I am?
Yeah,
And it's not that there isn't a place for that,
sure.
but I'm speaking to like the experience I've had of people in a room and they're often like the elders. They're often like the old souls, and they speak from this place that's like deeper than deep. And they're channeling something that feels like they're showing us a new possibility that's wiser. It's more loving. It's more intelligent. That's where I want to go, right? And this exercise is training us to not come from a place of reactivity where we need to like get people on our side to have the same enemy,
Yeah, yeah.
but to come from a place of like, given how difficult this situation really is in real life, wisdom tells me that we could do this next.
Yeah, well, fascinating. I wonder, other people might say, what if I don't know what I'm feeling? Like, what if I can't even tell? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about when you say like
Yeah.
get embodied.
Yeah. It's a great question. And that I come across that situation all the time, not just with myself, but with lots of students. There's some basic possibilities. What I love about this exercise, it does not ask us to understand anything.
We're
We
not
don't
trying
have
to
to
get insight or figure it out.
Yeah, in fact, what we find after kind of internalizing this practice is that the insight comes later when we've really gone to the depths of sensation. The insights percolate up from the depths. So we don't have to force anything, that can just come later. But in the meantime, there are two basic possibilities that I found. Either we find some sensation because we're sensitive, embodied human beings, we're going to be disturbed on and off for the rest of our lives. As long as we have these bodies, we do an exercise like this, it's like, oh, boom, I felt something. Like you said, when we started
Yeah.
this conversation, like, I didn't know it was there, but bam, the moment we started, bam, it's there.
Yep.
Another possibility is this kind of feeling like, what's going on? I don't know where I am. I don't really feel anything. To learn to attune to that kind of a numbness, a nothingness, like I don't feel anything. Not feeling anything is another kind of feeling.
Uh-huh.
And if we learn to stay with I don't really feel anything, we're surprised that, wow, there are like 20 layers to that I don't really feel anything. We get deeper and deeper into our actual experience, and it yields amazing insight. This is what I found doing this for a long time with students.
So if someone said, I can't tell what I'm feeling, I can't tell what my body sensations are, you
Yeah.
would say, okay, what's that like?
Yeah, exactly. What's that like? Where is it in your body that you can't tell what's going on? Is it the entire body? Like if you zoom out and kind of feel your entire physical field of sensation, is it like kind of a confusion and a numbness and a what's going on? Or is it like kind of in the chest, like, what is this going on? Like just get specific about the I don't know. And that's a little bit, people are like, you serious? That's what you do?
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's letting go of abstraction. It's letting go of trying to figure out in the mind what's happening in the body. It's training ourselves to be fully embodied in life, moment to moment.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that. What would you say to someone who says, well, my mind just keeps wandering. I just keep getting distracted. Or maybe they're upset that they keep getting distracted,
Totally. And that is a very convenient drama for the ego. Like, oh, I keep getting distracted. I guess I can't go into my body. I guess I'm just not cut out for this experience. Other people can do that practice. So to actually notice that is a productive experience. Like this practice is revealing a new layer of resistance, right? Every time I notice mind wandering, am I avoiding? Is there something I'm avoiding? And training yourself to redirect, like it is, I don't like to use superlatives, but I would say it is almost always the case when we do this exercise and notice like a lot of mind wandering and stories going on, that we're avoiding a deeper vulnerability in the body. So the mind wandering is indicative of a layer of resistance. It's giving us insight into, oh, this is what happens in my mind when there's something I don't want to feel in the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if the opposite happens and they're okay, they've been mind wandering, they've been ruminating, they've been worrying, they've been thinking, they've
Yep.
been planning, whatever.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, well, let's see what's under that. Let's see what's under that. And they
Yep.
get to this place where they're like,
Yes.
holy cow, this is overwhelming. My whole body,
Yeah.
like they go full on, like this
Yep.
is completely scary, terrifying, maybe a panic.
Thank you.
What? Hmm.
That is such an important question. I started the exercise with this instruction, which is in the mode of trauma sensitive practice, we should never assume that going deeper into the body, deeper into sensation is the best thing to do in this moment. If we feel grounded, if we feel resourced, if we feel curious, like, yeah, I want to see what's beneath those layers of resistance. Great. There's a lot here for you. And if for any reason, like you just said, I actually go a few layers down and I feel flooded, I feel overwhelmed, that is a great moment to just like drop the exercise. If your eyes are closed, open them. If you're sitting down, maybe stand up, maybe move around a bit. If you're the type who processes intensity alone, take some time alone, go for a walk. If you're the type who processes intensity better with another person, find somebody to process with. But take that overwhelm and that flooding very seriously and just, be very clear. I can do this another time when I'm feeling more resourced. Like what I found today was I got plenty of insight. I went through a layer of resistance and found this huge pool of who knows what that cesspool is. And I don't have to go back to that until I feel ready, if I feel ready. That's really important.
Well, and I think it's from a trauma therapy perspective, it's like we do this in a way that tries to keep us within our growth zone and not so much into the flooded zone or the panic zone. And so some of the ways we do this are by doing it in shorter periods of time or in smaller doses. So it's okay. Like that's not necessarily, you should not consider it failure if you're like, oh, I did this for a few minutes and it was very big for me. And then I took a break. Like that's probably a lot healthier than saying,
Yes.
I have to just stick with this and make myself suffer.
I couldn't say it any better. I love that. I very much agree with that approach to practice.
Okay. Let me go back to like my biggest barrier with meditation, which is
Cool.
it's hard for me to get motivated to do it because I find it very boring.
Yes.
and I'm uncomfortable with boredom.
Boredom is an important layer of resistance that defends against the deeper vulnerability. So this is all if you feel called to, if any of us feel called to, you can actually notice boredom as clearly and precisely as you've ever noticed it next time you sit still. And then potentially get curious, is there something even deeper on the other side of this boredom that's even more vulnerable, more open, more unknowable, that I actually am anxious about experiencing, right? So boredom is a very helpful defense we all have against these very big open states that a lot of our culture is designed to shield us from. And it so happens that the Buddhist tradition is designed at like, nope. We're gonna move through that. We're gonna let that go. Buddhist practice is designed to take us into greater and greater openness. And that can be really scary.
Yeah.
It's not just all nice and loving, and I feel so enlightened that it's terrifying as well.
Fear is a lot more comfortable for me than boredom. So maybe
Boredom,
I should practice
boredom's
that.
a good start. Boredom,
Okay.
you're lucky. You have good karma to feel boredom in your life. It's taking you somewhere deeper.
Okay. I'll spend some time with it, I guess. So thank you so much. Can you tell my audience where they can find more about your work or access more of what you do?
Yeah, I have a podcast. I do workshops, retreats, all that stuff. So lowerlightswisdom.org is a great place to check out what we're doing. And
I
I've
love
been
your
in.
podcast.
Oh, thank you. You've heard it. Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
I love your podcast.
Cool. Thank you. The new one, I just started one maybe a couple months ago.
Oh, I don't know. One Heart, One Mind is the one I've been
Yeah,
listening
that's
to.
new. I started
Oh,
that a
that is
couple
new.
months ago. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Amazing. So there's that. I've been living in Boston for the last 3 years, and I'm coming back west pretty soon. So I'll be teaching more full time starting in the summer. So I'd love to see you out there, Emma. I'd love to see
Oh, that'd be cool.
any of your community out for one of our events.
That'd be awesome. I'd love it. That'd be great.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it. Hi there. If you found anything in this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up or share it with someone who could benefit from it today.